Salle has a legacy of greatness, a legacy within families of greatness. But enough about the Outlaws. Our next inductee was part of that class in 1993 and embodies everything that De La Salle football is about. Even in time after De La Salle, I always remember coming and growing up and watching this next tailback rumble and bounce off of anybody that tried to stand in front of him. He set a school record with 68 touchdowns. He was the all-time leading rusher in school history. He was a heck of a baseball player as well. My sister actually graduated the same year that Patrick graduated. So every day I'd ask questions about the great athletes that were on campus, and of course Patrick was one of those I'd always ask questions about. She'd always tell me the stories about how Patrick worked harder than everybody else, was tougher than everybody else, more physical than anybody else. Certainly something that he learned from his father. The Walsh family is a special family here at De La Salle High School. And certainly your success afterwards is indicative of the lessons that you learned here at De La Salle. The next inductee here in the class of 2011 is Patrick Walsh.
One of the most outstanding moments I remember about Patrick was probably our first Pittsburgh game versus in his senior year versus Pittsburgh out on home field. They had won the NCS title the year before, took it from us, and actually earned it from us. But this was the first encounter we had with him since that time. And Patrick went out in that game and he was phenomenal. I think he scored 4 touchdowns or 5 touchdowns. Totally dominated the game offensively. He really set a tone. Is one of the single most impressive performances we've had from a De La Salle football player. I think that Patrick is one of a kind. I mean, it's when they made him, they kind of broke the mold. It's, you know, he's a self-made man all the way, and he did that same as an athlete too. He made himself as an athlete. I've never seen an athlete get so much out of himself. I mean, if you look at him, if you looked at him as a high school athlete, you'd think, well, you know, I don't know if that guy could be that good. He wasn't the fastest guy on the field. He wasn't the biggest guy on the field, of course, but I've never seen an athlete get the most out of what he had athletically. And he just rose head and shoulders above everybody. And just made some phenomenal runs, accomplished phenomenal feats. He's somebody that all athletes, all young boys should aspire to be. It really shows that it doesn't matter about stature, size, speed. You can be successful if you work hard enough. You've got the heart for it. Patrick's legacy to set to De La Salle, I think, is going to be a huge one. I think it already is a huge one. In my mind, you know, we went on this 151 game winning streak that is storied, I guess, in high school athletics. I think the catalyst, the main mover behind that 151 game winning streak was Patrick. It started his senior year. It started with his captain when he was captain of that 92 team. And he set the tone in the summer. He set the tone in the off season and throughout the entire season as to what it was going to take to start something so monumental. Naturally, we didn't even know what was going to happen from his season. But if I was to look back and to say there's one person that was instrumental in the catalyst behind a 151 game winning streak, it was Patrick Walsh.
I always laugh when I do that. There's a 0% chance of me not crying through this. One of the things that the book mentioned was hopefully you don't equate this with me being incredibly soft. I'm a very passionate individual. And I'd like to start this off with 3 questions. How does a guy like me get here? How does Dylan win when we all know the star of the 2010 Spartan team? Get off the bus at Sarah High School. Come open, doesn't know anything. Looks me in the eye, without even knowing it and without saying anything, basically tell me that this game is over. How's it happen? How does an opposing team, like Sarah, 2007, ranked number 2 in the Bay Area preseason, come here to Owen Owens Field, come through the back way? How does a group of scrappers, paint, face paint, the kids, the student section, look at each and every one of our kids, not say anything, and tell us that this game is also over, which it was. The answer to those questions, basically, in my opinion, like Coach Ladd said, started in 1991. In 1991, it was 28-27. We were driving for the game-winning touchdown, and my best friend threw an interception. And I'll never forget when Percy McGee was running down the field for Pittsburgh. I was there, I could have made the tackle, and I missed him. I could still feel his legs, powerful legs, rip right through my arms. And I looked in the end zone, and it was 35-27. And I realized that everything I wanted to be as a Dylan Salle guy was over at that time. And I remember the rain coming down, and I felt baptized at that moment. I felt really blessed, because something was raging in my heart, and something was happening in my brain. And I was going to say to my head, as I looked at each and every one of them, without saying anything, and I said, this is never going to happen again. Never. And to this day, no Spartan who's played here has ever felt that way on that Coliseum floor, ever, not one time. I'm so proud of that. The 92 team was unbelievable, man. We had so much fire and rage. I think if anyone was standing up here right now, they'd be crying the same way. Oh, my friend. I love those guys. I want to thank some people. I want to thank the committee for honoring me. I want to thank the school, man. The school environment here is unbelievable. I drive down the road today, listening to some YouTube on the way here. I remember thinking, we used to call it Desperation Alley. The last drive down Tree Boulevard, coming to summer workouts. We used to be cold in the summer around here. I remember thinking, we're going to put ourselves to the most humbling physical pain you're ever going to feel. And I remember welcoming that pain. And that's because of the school, Brother Jerome and the LaSallian tradition, and just the teachers and everyone else that affected us here. I want to thank my parents, my mom and dad, who have given me the foundation to be the person I am today, the husband I am today, the coach I am today. I want to thank you for everything you've given me, because without you, without your foundation and teachings, I wouldn't be who I am. Thank you, Mom and Dad. I want to thank my 2 brothers who, contrary to popular belief from my friends, actually nominated me for this. The joke is that I nominated myself. It's part of the Spartan tradition to rib each other. I want to thank my 2 brothers for nominating me, Christopher and Nicholas, my sister who's in Hawaii right now, can't be here, who kind of dealt with this craziness of mine. I want to thank the coaching staff, which basically, I looked at our thing, it was a 3-man staff with Pinella coming up and down. It was Coach Ladd, it was Terry, it was Coach Alexikos, and P-Man. That was it. 4 human beings that affected the course of all of our lives. Coach Ladd especially, where you at, Coach? Is he here? Coach Ladd, I can't say how much you mean to me. You took over the foundation my parents gave me and made me the man I am today. Thank you. That's all I can say. Part of this award is what you've done afterwards, I believe. Enter to learn, leave to serve, which is on the website. It's something that we learned here. All my Sarah family, all you guys that are here, my friends, the guys that I'm in the trenches with right now, I love you guys, each and every one of you. Thank you for giving me what you do for our kids at Sarah. I have a couple players here. It means a lot to me that you guys are here. It means a lot to me. Thank my wife for allowing me to do what we do. A lot of weekends gone, and my boys. Charlie's really intense and excited about this, asleep right there. William, my firstborn son, I love you. I'm gonna close with this. How does a guy like me get here? This is the team of 1992 nomination form for the De La Salle Hall of Fame. Nominated teams should be those who brought honor to De La Salle by performing at a high level or exceeded expectations. The team of 1992 was at a loss in the beginning of the season. We were castaways and rejects in our own hearts. We were the team that lost the Coliseum. We were ranked #1 in the nation and the state heading into the final game and lost them both in '91. As a group, in 1992, we had no expectations, no goals for wins or losses. Our only goal was to leave no doubt. This may sound nebulous to some and wouldn't qualify as a SMART goal, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. But it was a distinct vision for those of us on the team at 92. We brought honor to the school by changing the culture of what it meant to be a Spartan at that time. We recommitted ourselves and vowed to make the journey to become a Spartan a sacred act. We protected one another, we loved one another, and we professed to one another that we'd never feel like we did in '91. To date, the Spartan team has never lost that game. In fact, our team was the foundation for the most historic streak in the history of high school sports. 151 games, 12 years with no losses. That is a great accomplishment and one that I personally brag about all the time. I'm not going to be walking around saying I'm in the Hall of Fame. I'm going to be walking around saying I was on the team that started the famous streak of 151 games. I was on that team. We started it. We did not require extrinsic motivation. We did not need new rock me type speeches from our great mentors. We required a roadmap that Coach Ladd, the Cobra, Coach Alexcos, and Coach P-Man provided for us. We took that roadmap and made the journey our own. We set out to annihilate our opponents. We didn't care about the scoreboard or rankings. We cared about looking our opponents in the eye before the game and sending the message that this game was over because of our extreme commitment and work ethic. I understood that when Dylan Wynn got off the bus. When they blinked or looked away at the coin toss, we knew we had won. I like to stare at the guy and watch him kind of look away, and then I knew we had. We cared about shaking hands after the game and feeling that great joy of total domination of our opponent. It sounds ruthless, but the core of what I am saying and what our team was all about was true love. I know many of the Spartan teams before us loved one another, and I know many teams after us did as well. This love allowed us to overachieve like no other team before us had done. This love drove us to minimize our own personal desires and truly hand ourselves over to the greater good of the team. The irony of this is this. Because of our self-sacrifice for the greater good of the team, we all reached much greater heights individually. I don't really understand how that works. I just know that it did in 1992. With that said, I think our best gift to the Spartan teams that came after us, and the reason why we deserve to be in the Hall of Fame of this great school, is that we reestablished the bar for what it meant to love one another, to play for one another. And for this reason alone, I believe the team of 1992 belongs in the Spartan Hall of Fame. Guys that are out there, my teammates, this is a classic example. Allenbaugh, you love using these type of sayings. This is a classic horse before the cart moment. Hopefully someday we'll be putting the cart up here before the horse. I love you guys. This is our official nomination, and thank you very much.
It's almost too perfect, the next person that's going to be inducted here, when you think about De La Salle. And you think about what he means to this community. How genuinely unique of an individual he is, from his hairstyle that has changed over the years,